Welcome back. You're listening to Get Real, and I'm your host, Bob Gallagher. Joining me in the studio today, we have Job Torini of Ross Mortgage. Welcome to the show, Job.
Good morning.
And also joining us, we have Anne Silverman with Lair Realty Partners in Framingham. Welcome to the show, Anne.
Good morning.
So you cover Metro West and the surrounding areas, correct?
That is correct.
Can you give us sort of an update on how the real estate market is doing right now in Metro West?
It's great. Sellers are selling properties very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
We do not have enough properties to sell to the number of buyers that are out there. We're still finding that open houses are swamped with lots of buyers.
Okay.
And many are going to be left out in the cold this winter.
Again.
There's
some people that think, oh, you know what, I'm just going to hang it up and I'll try again next year. And that's probably not the best advice you could give anybody right now, right? You got to kind of stick with it.
I think you should stick with it.
Right. As far as Metro West, what areas specifically do you cover? I know you're really an expert in Ashland.
I am an expert in Ashland, Framingham, Natick, Holliston, Hopkinton, Sudbury, Southborough, and those surrounding areas regarding that.
Excellent. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, you said the inventory is still short. Are you still seeing a lot of multiple offer situations, or is that easing a little bit?
Absolutely. Tons of multiple offer situations when priced properly to begin with.
Right. So people thinking they're going to get their crazy high price, that's just going to sit on the market still?
You're better off pricing it aggressively.
Right.
And letting the buyers predict the price for you.
Excellent. Can you tell us a little bit about average days on market for the houses that you're selling right now?
My listings usually sell in the first weekend on the market.
Really?
Yep. I do a lot of pre-marketing, which I think is really important. It's all about getting the house ready, getting it to look perfect, so that when buyers walk in, they're ready to buy. They want it immediately.
Excellent. How do you get your clients ready to sell their house or ready to list it?
I work with them sometimes for a month. I work with them sometimes for a year.
Really?
So I've had some prep. Even right now, I have something I'm working on that's going to be coming on in Medway, and we're not coming on till the spring, but we want some nice pictures now. So I'm having my photographer come out to take some nice green pictures for the exterior right now, and then we'll do the rest come time to go on the market.
Oh, I never really thought about how much or how soon before the actual listing date you start working with clients. I always assumed it was, hey, I'm ready to sell, and then a couple of weeks later it's on the market.
That would be nice. It depends. I've been doing this now for 18 years, so I have quite a bit of past clients that call me up and say, I think I'm selling in a year. Can you tell me what I need to do now to prepare for that? So I have a few of those that I've met with in the past few months that I know are preparing for the spring market.
And what do you think is leading them to finally put the houses on the market?
They want to take advantage of the market and the money that they can get for today.
Right. Now, are most of your past clients, are they staying in the area, or are they relocating to other areas?
Some of them are buying up. Some of them are downsizing. And some of them are moving south.
Yeah.
Done with winter.
You starting to see that again?
Yes.
It seems like people are waiting longer than they used to hang it up and move down to Florida.
Well, some of them maybe. And then, a lot of them are my clients that are from 15, 16, 17 years ago. They're the ones that are mostly moving south. Of course, my younger clients that started out in condos, they're wanting to sell at this point and, buy a single family home.
Excellent. As far as first-time buyers, what's the best place to buy for a first-time buyer, especially if you're trying to stretch your budget?
Well, the further out you go from Boston, you're going to get a little bit more bang for your buck. But you have to take everything into consideration. You have to take in your lifestyle. I think the biggest guidance I give my first-time buyers is make sure that you're comfortable spending the amount you're going to spend monthly on the property you purchase.
Right.
Sometimes when I have time, I will guide them even 6 months to a year prior, and I'll have them open up a separate bank account saying, if you think you're going to be comfortable spending $2,000 a month on your mortgage, etc., then set up a bank account and start putting that money away. It's a forced savings towards your down payment. And then you really know if that's comfortable. And you still can go out to eat, because I'm not supplying peanut butter and ramen noodle for your first year of food, because that's all you could eat.
Right. And that's an important thing, too. That's what we go over with our clients, too, when it comes time to pre-qualify them. Just because you qualify for it on paper doesn't mean it's a good idea, because a lot of people want to have a life outside of their house. Nobody wants to be house poor.
That's right, because otherwise chances are I'm going to be selling that house and finding each of you separate homes. And I don't want to do that.
No, that's no good. That's no good at all. Why don't we talk about some common mistakes to avoid for first-time buyers?
Well, the biggest mistake is not using an agent that represents you.
Mm-hmm.
I really think you should be educated in the process of what it takes to buy a house here in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
The time frame involved, and getting recommendations from an experienced agent on, of course, using a professional mortgage company like Ross Mortgage.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Also, I can, as a buyer's agent, I can help recommend attorneys, recommend contractors, you name it. I have a guy for that.
Right. So you have a team of professionals that'll make sure it goes smoothly as opposed to crossing your fingers and hoping for the best.
Absolutely. Usually my clears to close are in hand prior to the closing, and I never worry about getting to that table.
Excellent. How about common mistakes for sellers?
Again, not using a professional
Same one.
professional real estate agent.
Yeah.
A lot of things can come up, and it helps you to prepare the house. Using a professional agent is going to help guide you on the things that you could do to your home that are going to be most beneficial, that are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. I mean, this is my professional business. I do this full time, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not a professional real estate agent, but many times a lot of my business comes
Mm-hmm.
from sellers that think they could wear the real estate hat until they realize it's not working.
Yeah.
The deal falls apart once, falls apart a second time.
And I think there's a statistic that came out recently. I don't know if it was the National Association of Realtors or the Massachusetts Association, but I forget the percentage, but it was basically the big issue was people that sell on their own typically end up selling for less than they could have sold if they used a real estate agent.
Yes, I've heard that statistic as well, and I believe it's absolutely true.
Right. Joe, why don't we talk a little bit about, from the mortgage side of things, the importance of working with a full-time professional agent versus,
I didn't want to interrupt any of the questions or answers, but from my standpoint, my position, I see all the pre-qualifications that we process per month, and it's generally around 200 and growing.
Wow.
But what we see all the time is that the offers in certain geographical areas that are represented by certain realtors are always accepted. So can you talk to me a little bit about what makes it different from the buy side in terms of your clients, what level of strength your offer has when you have a pre-approved client when they're getting in competitive situations, which we're going to be in for the next couple of years?
Well, there's a few things. Your buyer's agent, first of all, should know the value of the property that you're buying and make sure that they're putting an offer in that's going to be competitive with the other offers out there in a multiple offer situation. There are ways to structure your offer to make sure that it will be accepted, which having a pre-approval is one, depending on your loan to value of that pre-approval. Sometimes, waiving an appraisal. Sometimes I've gone to appointments and I've brought inspectors with me so that we can waive that inspection. There are just things that you can set up, but the pre-approval is key. It has to be a real pre-approval, not in words. Like I know Ross Mortgage, it's a real pre-approval. They've checked W-2s, they've checked finances. It's not just, oh yeah, I spoke to this guy and he told me he makes $200,000 a year and here you go, you can afford this.
Right.
It's interesting to me too that this is the biggest purchase most people make in their entire lives, and this is where we kind of want to take a flyer and do it ourselves. We're not going to do our kitchen ourselves. We're not going to do our bathroom over ourselves. We shouldn't be buying something in between $250,000 to $500,000 without representation.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I think the other common thing, and you can talk about this a little bit too, Ann, is people think when they get a lawyer, it's all set. Many lawyers don't leave their office. They're almost always dependent on real estate agents for the information. It's really a partnership.
Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So how about condition of houses on the market with, you see all these HGTV shows. It seems like there's a new one coming on every day, new channels dedicated to home improvement. Are you kind of seeing the younger crowd going after the fixer-uppers, thinking they're going to be the next Joanna Gaines, or does everybody want all the work done for them before they buy?
I would say it's 50-50. There are quite a few young buyers that don't mind doing some of the cosmetics changes. They think they're those weekend warriors that they can do even some major changes. But generally speaking, I also think that it depends on the buyer and it depends on the house. I find that those that are about to have children really want more of a turnkey situation.
Right.
And those that maybe are not thinking of having children for a while, they're more apt to go for the fixer-upper.
Right, because they have more time and disposable income to work on the house,
Absolutely.
In some semblance of a life.
right? Yeah, and I can speak from experience. Trying to do anything around the house when you have a child is pretty much impossible.
It is.
No. Okay, going back to the importance of working with a real estate agent that's a full-time professional. Job, talk a little bit about traditional banks versus mortgage companies and what the differences are between the two.
I think, where our market is more, we're completely focused on purchase. So we're a local bank is looking to do anything from a personal loan to a refinance. We're solely focused here in terms of marketing on purchase. So we are experts on a daily basis. We have daily updates from Fannie and Freddie. I've been doing this for 20 years. Bob's been doing this for 20 years. So from our standpoint, if you're looking to buy a home, we can show you every different way that you can do that, all in terms of responsible ways. And one of the things from the beginning of the segment that Anne mentioned is doing that exercise with putting that money in savings. What a different world it would be if everyone did that.
Right.
And it may seem hokey or not valuable. That's incredibly valuable. That's an incredibly valuable thing, because two people that aren't owning right now that are buying, or one person that thinks they can buy, should be able to have that level of disposable income. And that's where our programs may be different a little bit. We don't look at, this level versus that level, more on we're geared towards a sustainable payment. Like, is the payment fixed, and can this person afford this and still afford to live their life? And that's where we're comfortable.
Could you imagine if that was a prerequisite to buying? We never would have had that
Nope.
downfall.
Right.
No, probably not. Yeah.
Right. Instead it was, I'll take whatever the most is I'm qualified for. And they all figured, hey, if it goes bad, I'll just sell it.
Yeah.
Except when everybody tries to do that.
Exactly.
Okay, so again, going back to the to rehabbing properties, what's the biggest bang for the buck you're going to get as far as updates or upgrades to a house once you buy it?
Kitchens and baths.
Really?
Absolutely. It's always kitchens and baths.
Right.
When they're beautiful, that's the most expensive upgrade you can get.
Right.
But if you're going to do it to sell within 5 to 10 years, do it neutral.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no hot pink granite?
Yeah, not. Definitely not.
Job, you're going to have that taken out of your house before you put it on the market.
I was going to say, yikes. Bad investment alert.
What about adding bathrooms? Does that do a lot for the value?
If you only have one bathroom,
Yeah.
definitely. Making another full bath would definitely help.
Right. And what about minor things? Updating flooring, painting?
80% of buyers prefer hardwood floors.
Really?
So if you have a choice and you have a lot of carpet, which is pretty much anything built after the 80s is a lot of carpet, and you're considering hardwood floors, I would go for the hardwood floors.
Okay. That's good advice. Can you tell, actually, before I go on, I wanted to give out your contact info. So if you're thinking about buying or selling anywhere in the Metro West or surrounding areas, you should give Anne Silverman a call. She's with Lair Realty Partners in Framingham, and her number's 508-380-7403. Again, it's 508-380-7403 with Lair Realty Partners in Framingham. So believe it or not, we have different types of loans that you can use to actually do the work to the house, whether it's just cosmetic updates like you were just speaking about, or if you wanted to do a gut rehab to the kitchens and baths, or maybe rip the roof off and add a second floor. We have programs where you can do that on a refinance or on a purchase, right, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, the refinance programs are better served when they can just do cash out and have their own kind of free will on what they want to do, so there's not a timeline.
Right.
But when they are purchasing, in addition to the 203K rehabilitation loan that the FHA has, and people are pretty aware of the challenges with that, here at Ross, we've gone out and sought some local bank partners, and we are offering the local bank rehab products that are using local inspectors, not national FHA inspectors. They understand the market. They're more real estate agent friendly, more customer friendly. And we have purchase products for people that, we talked about the weekend warrior before that wants to do a small $10,000 product. We can do that through the bank or FHA in a streamlined fashion, which requires less documentation. And if they want to take on even bigger projects, both those programs allow it. We'll generally use FHA for the more money-centric situations or for a credit score that isn't pristine. But that said, the local programs now are offering loans to normal credit scores again. We're not going through the same challenges that we used to get credit qualified people. If they have income documentation and they have a solid work history and a decent down payment, these products are available to them.
Right. And the FHA allows as little as 3.5% of the purchase and the
even the bank
rehab
even
costs.
the bank loans are doing. What's funny is now the local banks which have dictated the market have turned to kind of mirror what we're doing and offer us products similar to the national products that we've been offering for a long time.
Right.
Which is great for local customers because they get the best of both worlds.
True. And not to put you on the spot, but I'm going to anyways.
Thank you.
Where do you think the real estate market is headed from here over the next, say, 2, 3, 4 years?
Well, we really have quite a cycle here in Massachusetts and maybe throughout the country even. We have our highs, we have our lows, and then we have our balanced market. So right now we've pretty much been in what we call a seller's market for the past couple of years or more. And I think we have possibly another couple of years of that at a minimum. And then generally we go to more of a balanced market where it's kind of a negotiator's market,
Right.
not necessarily buyers nor sellers. You just kind of work together to come to
Right.
an agreement.
But balance is good.
Balance is good.
Feels better when there's not a shortage on one side or the other.
Absolutely.
And we lived through the shortage on the listings, and nobody realized how much worse it could get when it goes the other way.
Right. And what happens, the balanced market usually starts to come in when people see that the market is starting to come down a little bit. Then all those sellers that didn't sell, they're like, oh boy, we better sell now before
Right.
it gets too bad. And that's when we get more properties on the market and buyers are not left out in the cold as much.
Right. Which has to happen at some point, hopefully.
It does. It does. Unfortunately, what usually follows that is more of a buyer's market,
Right.
which, history has shown us and time will only tell.
Right. The cycle will repeat itself sometime. We just don't know when.
Nope. I'd have to get out my crystal ball, and I don't have one.
I'm going to give out your contact info one more time, Ann. It's Anne Silverman, Metro West and surrounding areas. She's with Lair Realty Partners in Framingham. You can reach her at 508-380-7403. Again, it's 508-380-7403. Ann, thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thank you very much.
We're going to take a short commercial break. We'll be back with more Get Real after this.